Good evening and welcome to today's news bulletin. I'm Zandile Mpapane, recapping stories making headlines. The Minister for Education and Training, Lady Howard Mabuza, applauded teachers for making sure that students are ready for their external examinations. A war of words resulted into a physical fight at the Makakula homestead at Ekupheleni. A house was gutted down by fire at Mpuleni under the Manzini region. Before we continue with our news bulletin, there was a message from Water Aid ESWATINI, and it is all about encouraging Yemaswati to adhere to COVID-19 regulations. Well, the Minister for Education, Lady Howard Mabuza, today in Babani during a press conference, applauded teachers for making sure that students are well prepared for their external examinations. We have a report.
In a press conference today, Minister of Education, Lady Howard, shone some light on the splendid work done by teachers to assure that the current examination period is a success. The exams that began on the 14th of February for Form 3 students are currently underway, with Form 5 and Grade 7 learners scheduled to sit for the exams shortly. Minister Howard acknowledged challenges faced by educators due to COVID-19 and commended the teaching force, diligent learners, as well as supportive parents for enduring all obstacles presented to them.
It is for this reason that I should thank our dedicated teachers, supportive parents, as well as the hard-working learners for the effort being demonstrated during this examination period. It is also imperative that I emphasize the need for parents to continue supporting the education of their children. This support should encompass ensuring that their children have enough time to study, have the necessary resources to study, and further provide encouragement and motivation, as well as play a supervisory role. To all learners, whether writing internal or external examinations, this is an important step in your education, which requires you to put maximum effort. Make sure you consult your teachers should there be anything that requires clarity as you study. I urge you to take your education seriously, as it will ensure that you have a better future. Lastly, a special message goes to the Form 5s who are heading for the last assessment of their senior secondary education. Working hard on your studies, consulting your teachers continuously, and continuous research will always pay off well. Attaining good grades will widen your horizons, enabling you to have plenty of options at post-secondary education level.
Apart from the encouraging words she had for teachers, the minister also did a word to students, particularly Form 5s, urging for them to take this part of their journey seriously. Reporting for Channel Yemaswati News, Abongile Mabuza with Gary Carlos Mbabane.
The Minister for Commerce, Industry and Trade, Senator Mangoba Khumalo, today when he took a tour at OK Foods in Mhlambeni, applauded their majesties for the reconstruction fund, which is meant to rehabilitate and restart businesses that were affected by the civil unrest which occurred on June last year. We have a report.
OK Food Mhlaleni stores that have been reconstructed in the Mhlaleni liquor store were launched today. This was delightful for most because they are hoping for job opportunities. The Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Mangoba Khumalo, speaking at the launch, quoted a verse from the book of Ecclesiastes 7 verse 8 that reads, "The end of a matter is better than its beginning, and patience is better than pride." The Honorable Minister further praised His Majesty the King Yemaswati III for showing great love for his people.
Josepha, encwadini ya Genesis sehluko sa 50 verse 20, ukhuluma nabanakabo sebambonile ukuthi senguye ndvunankulu eGibhithe bebasolo bangamboni. Uthi ke lokubi lebenihlosile kimi uNkulunkulu sokusebenzisa ukuthi kube ngilokuhle. ngingako sihlangene lapha uNkulunkulu kwenta into ngendlela lemangasana kube kunene uNkulunkulu bathi noma lababi bahlose lokho labahlosile akuthathe lokubi akwende kube kunako lokukhulu lokuhle njengoba sesiva.
Mr. Lincoln Mota represented Linux Enterprises and also praised His Majesty the King for launching the Reconstruction Fund.
The unrest that we experienced in June 2029 last year had a devastating impact and rendered a lot of Yemaswati unemployed and wreaked havoc on the country's infrastructure. This in addition to the negative impact that COVID-19 had on the country and international community.
OK Franchise Division, Bevan Pifield, applauded Swazis for showing interest in entrepreneurship.
What I've seen also in the ESWATINI is the people's entrepreneurial spirit.
Gwaluseni Member of Parliament Mapalisi Dlamini spoke for the constituency. The store has employed 75 people, and before the unrest, they were 55 people. I am Nohla Twala reporting for Yemaswati channel at Mhlaleni.
Sipho Shongwe's case continued today at the High Court in Babane, whereby Shongwe's lawyer mentioned that evidence by Ncaza Nkosi does not implicate the accused in any way. We have a report.
The state witness in the case, the state witness in the murder case of Victor Kametse, Ncaza Nkosi, presented his final response to cross-examination by Sipho Shongwe's lawyers. Sipho Shongwe's lawyer, Advocate Lawrence Holt, stated that the information or the evidence he presented to court does not collaborate with their statement while they were kept in prison in Johannesburg, both with the evidence that was delivered here in court by Tata Sipho Ngubane, where Ncaza stated that he responded to the question of the statements contradicting their confessions, stating that it was an issue of their attorney that they have hired, Mr. Nel, who did not amend the statements, and it's in detail that is known by a ESWATINI team, meaning the prosecution and the Royal ESWATINI Police Investigating Team. Holt stated that since in his testimony he stated that he wanted to leave a trail so that he can be easily traced, why didn't he hand himself over to the police? On another note, stating that on the evidence that was presented to court by Sipho Ngubane, it is stated that he was called to testify into ESWATINI as he did not show any interest of coming to the country for testimony. On another note, they also stated that he made a call while in South Africa attempting to get in touch with Sipho Shongwe, where after upon Domfuti stated that she can't help him, he was heard laughing on the telephone voice note, which implied that he was not fearful of Shongwe, whom he said had compelled him to do the job. Shongwe's attorney also stated that Shongwe denies knowing Ncaza and does not know the papers that he presented to court, stating that they were from a bus that was presented by Shongwe to him, trying to persuade him not to come and testify against him. He continued to state that all the evidence that he presented before court does not implicate Shongwe in this case. Therefore, the truth and the only truth is that the video footage that is shown in court and is in possession of the prosecution is showing him doing the shooting himself. Ncaza, responding to Advocate Lawrence Holt, stated that on the issue of handing himself over to the police, he was warned not to, because Shongwe and his people are very powerful, so it might be a trap that might get him killed since he has been threatened. He also stated that he did not deny coming to ESWATINI. The only issue was that he was concerned of his safety if he will be safe when coming to Eswatini to testify. That is only the matter that made him be persuaded to come to Eswatini. Continued to state that it was the first time in 2018 for him to come to Eswatini, as he was promised to do the job and threatened by his family. Naza continued to state that it is not true that him and Shongwe never met, as he knew Shongwe, as he's the one who assigned him to do the shooting. It was then the final cross-examination made by Advocate Lawrence Holtz, where after High Court Judge Kusinati Masego appreciated the South African Correctional Services for bringing Naza into the country, and also appreciated Naza for agreeing to come to assist in the matter. The case is expected to continue on the 13th to the 16th of September 2022. As it will resume on another note on an issue of court deal from the 12th of April 2022. Other dates that were set is the 27th to the 30th of June. Channel Yemaswati News, I'm Linda Shongwe, High Court. Bye-bye. The trial for the incarcerated members of parliament proceeded today before court, where videos of members of parliament who were speaking on video footage were played and rewinded in court, which were presented as evidence by the state. Board counsel continued to make details and comments, while they make the members of parliament continue to explain themselves deeply on their sentiments that they were making on the video clips. According to their attorney, Mr. Mgometulu, the case will continue again on Tuesday, where it is expected for the matter to continue and see to it if the charges that have been leveled against the two members of parliament do collaborate with the evidence that is presented by the prosecution. For Channel Yemaswati News, I'm Linda Shongwe, High Court, Babane.
A war of words resulted into a physical fight at a Makakula homestead in Ngupheleni last night. We have a report.
A simmering family feud boiled over after Babe Dimsari Makakula from Ngupheleni was allegedly attacked during a heated argument over land. Makakula, who lives on family land, claims that his older siblings are conspiring to get him off the property.
Yasuka kanjalo kwenzaba kwathi ngekuhamba kwesikhathi kwachamuka bachamuka sechamuka bomnefuvusi iphosa lemango hawu kushukane lana kushukane lapha ebaleni bangishaye bathi babangishaya khona lapho bangibambe bangigogela endlini sathi bajijele impahla ngephandle abajijela impahla lana ngephandle bathathe imali bathi khokhe bajijele la ebaleni impahla nyalo imvule ngifuna ukuthi yendeke baphathi ngifuna ukuthi babhadale le mali babhadale tonke letimvo letilahlekile nalokho ngefuka kwabo bathi ngiyathakatha
bathi kusuka ngemvelo encane longeke nje nawe uyinaka ngihlukubeteke kakhulu ngoba labo mshana bebangibamba ngetandla bangiphosa so bathi manje na angiphume la khaya ngihambe lana kusekhaya kibo la angeke bona babuswe ngithi.
During a telephone interview we conducted with his brother Vusi Makakula, an exchange of heavy words and threats were thrown around.
Kwendekani Makakula?
Yakhona abangakenze bangishaya umshaya. Bamkhiphe endlini yabo labantwana kuphela le bakhiphile bamkhiphela ngaphandle wangena endlini lenye bafuna lezi jakhe.
Uyini lokwendila zange sokuthengisa enda ekhaya
Uyagula yabona
awuzange ngizothengisa kude inkinga
uyagula ungakhulumi into lengekho yabona batheqiniso lapho ukuthi bangayindlu andanga umhlaba
kulungile isikhathi wenda lamacebo lawa kulungile sakhona endlungulu nasetinkantolo kude inkinga
akunenzaba lokuthi ikhathi yakho thi lapha ngubekelwe lokho mhlawumbe kwabaza ngathi
Angase nimthinze nengetandla.
hayi make akazi ukuthi kude ngabathile khona etandla nje bambambi nje phela bakhipha impahla zakhe.
Uthi Makakula leli khaya leli lenzawo le yakhondwa batali benu nimkhipha ngaliphi nini pho?
Ma asemukhiphi lo muntu lona lapha ekhaya. Lapha ekhaya kusika lenzawo le wena ufuna kulima yonke lenzawo ayedvale zasika lapha tabaneta polo bonke naye khona lapha ekhaya naye
Mcambelane ma ngiboka ukukhuluma emaqiniso manje engakuthi aguga soluphepha
lalela la ngithi mina angikhulumi nawe.
Reporting for Channel Yemaswati News, Abongile Mabuza, Wazandile Mpapane and Gary Carlos, Ngupheleni.
A house was gutted down by fire at Mpuleni under the Manzini region. The cause of the fire is still unknown according to eyewitnesses. We have a report.
The house at Mpuleni was burnt to ashes last night, and this is a house that was used by boys of the Dladla home. According to Mr. Dladla, the owner of the home, he stated that it was at night when they saw the fire. Everything that was inside was burnt to ashes, including the bed and clothes.
Wakipela kwatro wastabuya ngasemnyango lapho kunaboma handicap school ngamasuka
Katibendlu
bebangekho lapha endlini but around boma 12:30 ebusuku 12:30
labangaba nalolu sito bangenda kanjani baba?
Sikhona ekhaya ngoba ngibekile nasemaphoyiseni ngibekile nasemphakathini la ekhaya kwaDladla mina inombolo yami 76353412.
Okay, siyabonga sikhuluma nababe bani?
Ngikhuluma nababe Dladla Jabulani nabanye ba.
Well, that's all the news we had for tonight, but before ending tonight's bulletin, let's take a recap of the stories which made headlines. The Minister for Education and Training, Lady Howard Mabuza, during a press conference in Mbabane today, applauded teachers for making sure that students are all ready for their external examinations. A war of words resulted into a physical fight at a Makakula homestead last night. A house was gutted down by fire at Mpuleni under the Manzini region. What else are the news we had for tonight? Do have yourselves a beautiful evening. Good night.